a good time. Put a smile on your face, yeah. Can be Cam and Elation Radio. Even brighten your day and help you through the night. Bringing you good music. Can be Cam and Elation Radio. And here's your host, Kimmy Kim.
All right. Thank you for joining Next Level with Trenace. I am so happy that you are spending 60 minutes, give or take, of your 1,440 minutes of your Saturday with me. We are ending this month with Erica Evans, mom, entrepreneur, educator, and first-time published author. Erica, man, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence today. How are you feeling?
Hello, Trenace. I'm feeling great. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on your platform and to share what I have to offer your audience.
I am so excited, and I'm so proud of you. One of my new sisters that I was introduced to during the pandemic. Didn't I tell you guys that I met some great people during 2020 and had some great experiences? Well, Erica Evans is one of my new sisters, and thank you so much. Could you share a little bit about yourself with our listeners?
Sure. Like you said, I'm a mother and an educator. And within education as my profession, I have been through all realms of education, from early childhood, K-12, and higher education. Currently, as a profession, I'm working with a K-12 virtual learning platform as well as an adjunct instructor for a local community college in the Philadelphia area. So I still get to do what I love, and that's just help provide access and advocate for those to get equitable access to high-quality education. I enjoy reading. I enjoy writing and journaling and listening to music.
I am so, I'm so proud of you because I remember a couple of months, well, not even a couple of months ago, many months ago, like towards the end of last year, we were talking about this book, and you set a goal for you to get this book at least finished and to edit. Did you make that date, that cutoff date for yourself?
I did. And you know what, Trenace? Because I've been procrastinating about this book for over 3 or 4 years. Let me see, my youngest son is 16, so about 15 years ago, I wrote a novel, like a fictional novel, and back then, it was on like the floppy disk, and there was no way to save it in iCloud or share it on Google Drive, and I lost it. And when I lost it, it felt like I wasn't meant to write. I wasn't meant to share what I had to say. So that put me in a position where I had to reevaluate and look at myself and gain my inner strength and remember who I am and whose I am so that I can be what I need to be and people can hear me. Because I do have an audience that loves to hear me, but I need to love to hear myself as well. So I set that date because when I met you, you inspired me. And the circle of friends that we built off of your platform when you were trying to get us all together, the 4 of us have been encouraging one another. And someone told me, make sure you surround yourself around others that are ahead of you because you can't be better if you're always leading. And when I got with the 3 of you, I said, oh, okay, this is what I need to do. So you're right. I set that date for December 31st, and I was in here last minute, of course, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, but guess what? It was done. I was tired and it was done, but I was so complete. And here I am now. It will be in print in May, and I'm just so grateful for following through on myself.
The reason why I think that's important for everybody to hear what you said is because we all have our self-doubt. We all have our stories of self-doubt, and we all have our stories of progress and then even pursuit and even success. And that's what next level is. It's about every step. It's not just about the final destination because life isn't a final destination, but It's about every single step that you take to reach your goal. That's what Next Level is about. So tell us the name of your book.
The name of my book is Stop Hitting Snooze at the Sound of Your Alarm.
So what is that about?
So that is about just think about it. When you're walking around, you think intuition. When we have our intuition, if we're not paying attention, we'll miss something or we'll talk ourselves out of it. So that's the whole thing about stop hitting snooze. Stop ignoring your intuition. Stop ignoring the path that was created for you. Recognize your purpose. And I'm spiritual and I believe in God and that God has a purpose for me. But if I'm going to allow my flesh to be submissive to life and what's going around, I can't hear him. And if I keep hitting snooze, I'm missing out on the blessings that he has for me. So that's what it encapsulates with the title, but I go into a little different avenues and experiences and case scenarios or stories within the book to help the reader stop hitting snooze where they are at that point in time.
So where do you think, or when do you think, was the first time that you just didn't hit snooze, you just woke up and made movement?
I think I did it sporadically, and I just did it because it was something that had to be done. But to be intentional about it was a couple of years ago. I was working in the education field in higher ed, and I knew I didn't need to be there any longer. So when I started working there, I only had a bachelor's degree. Not only, but I had my bachelor's degree, and I was working on my graduate degree. Well, once I attained a graduate degree, like everyone else would think, you would get a bonus, you would get a promotion, you would get something. And I didn't get anything, not even a hand clap. So that was like the alarm was coming. Like I could hear it coming, like the sunrise is coming up and your body knows. That was it. But sitting there and working with these students and just feeling so drained and hating to go to work every day because I didn't want to be around the people that I work with, it just hit me like a ton of bricks. God has given me acres to expand and explore, and I was stuck in square footage. And when I realized that I had acres and not square feet, I took off. And I put in my resignation, a 2-week resignation with 2 kids in college and no job prospect, and emptied out the savings that I had, and just said, I can't do it. This is not it. And that
was a great analogy. That was a really great analogy. So many times we don't even consider our space that we have for growth, or even the leverage we have that allows us access to things. Man, that's pretty. That's real deep, Erica. So, what was your next step after that?
So after that, it just took me. I didn't look for a job. I just was like, let me just enjoy who I am and touch base with who I am again, and try to go back and release some triggers, because sometimes we have triggers that we carry with us, but if I release them, they're not going to trigger me anymore. So I had to go back and do that as well. But it was freeing. It was really freeing, and I was able to be happy and content. And you know what? Now that I think about it, during that time frame, how old was my 16-year-old? I guess he was about 13. So just think about if a 13-year-old in that transition and your mother is miserable. He didn't get the best version of me. I think my older 2 kids got a better version of me as a parent, even though I had my hiccups with them. They got a better version of me being centered within myself. I had some of my own rough edges that they had to help me smooth out, but I think they got a better long-term visionary mother than he did. My youngest one has a mother that's, okay, I'm going to be there. I'll fix it. I'll do this. I'll do that. The other two had the mother was, well, listen, we got to get this done. We a team. We got to roll together. He didn't have that. He had me and the other two catering to him, but also the mind frame that I was in. So you have to be happy with yourself, especially as a parent, and make sure you take care of yourself first so that your kids are going to be okay. But also that alarm, listen, when you go to school, grad school wasn't free. I didn't have a scholarship for grad school. I had to work, pay a little here and there, take out loans. So if I'm in grad school and I have these loans and I'm not getting a financial reward, something got to give.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought about our conversation and what you text messaged me yesterday. You are a first-time published author, but you've always been a writer. What made you switch from writer to published author?
You know what? The growth. I think I wanted to share my growth because this book, this is my first published book, but I really want to do novels, and this is more like a self-care, self-help, or social science book journal. It's an interactive book that's going to help people make that next step and hit that alarm, and then what are you going to do once you're awake? That's for the reader or the audience to decide. But I know what I want to do. I want to do like different brandings and maybe create an app to help people. And I want to do my novels, my fictional novels. I grew up reading, oh my gosh, it's the tip of my tongue, but like Mama and Waiting to Exhale. I grew up reading poetry by Maya Angelou, reading The Bluest Eye. I just grew up reading, and I love being able to read something and feel like I'm there. And I want to be able to provide that as well. But I also want to put in a hidden message into all of my books that are going to come out in reference to like education, how the disparity of education is within the inner city and the suburbs, as well as with educators. Look at the educators in the pandemic that we're going through now. Our early childhood educators were forced to go back to work because they provide the care for everyone that needs to work. But they weren't made sure they had all the PPE that they needed. They weren't covered as well as our K-12 educators are being covered with the union and with the government. It's a difference. But education is more important for early childhood. You're sending your 6-week-old into a facility. You will want that caretaker to understand the human development as well as child development because they're caring for your child more than you are. And from birth to 5 is very critical in the human development of the brain, and it helps chart that path of educational success for these children. So I would love to write a book about some characters that are in all 3 realms of education, but they're friends, and what that looks like, and what their trial and errors are, and how they experience life.
I had never considered that because I have a granddaughter that's in K4, and she does go to school 5 days a week, where the baby in 2nd grade, she's going a hybrid. I think she goes 2 days in, and the rest of the week she's at home doing assignments.
Yeah, and just think of all of our first responders. If they're parents of not school-age children, meaning 6 weeks to 5 years old that's not in kindergarten, where were their kids going to go? They had to go to a daycare center or a child care provider if they didn't have family nearby. The older kids, family will take in an older child. Well, I don't know about now with all this virtual learning, but family will be more apt to take in an older child because, it's easier to take care of them.
Right.
So the child care centers they're carrying the back, carrying everyone on their back, especially the world of employment, because you can't go to work if there's no one to care for your child. So employers are starting to see that and put more money into the early childhood system, as well as holding the government more accountable for early childhood education. because their employees are not going to come to work if they don't think their kids are safe or if they don't have anywhere to send them.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't have any children in school. All of mine are grown up, but I mean, and the way my son and his girlfriend work it out is, he's at home during the daytime because he works at night and she works during the daytime. So that, that saves them from that situation of trying to figure out who is going to safely take care of the 2-year-old.
Yeah. And then that's how I tied in making sure this is the first book that comes out, because we have to step back and look at that. That's another point. When do you stop hitting snooze? When do you stop ignoring the fact that a plan has to be made? When do you stop ignoring the fact that you have to address your past to get ahead? Or like today, my daughter and I were out trying to teach my son how to drive in parallel park, and he pulled up, and she said, "Good job, Jonah, you left enough room," meaning he left enough room from the car ahead of him so that if he needs to get around that car, so if something's blocking him, he put himself in position where he can get around things, where he doesn't have to go back in his past, where he doesn't have to reverse, where he doesn't have to fall back a couple of steps. He can just pivot, spin his wheel to the right, spin it to the left. Wherever you see a clearing, you keep moving. But you got to recognize when you need to stop hitting snooze and pivot. So that having the pandemic slow us down and having the ability to stop hitting snooze and just reach for a pen or a goal to get up and do what I had to do, I wanted to share that with others, because I think that's the main thing in moving forward, is to recognize when you're holding yourself back.
Well, you mentioned at the beginning our connection and how that supported your moving forward. How important do you think community and connection is when it comes to movement or even lack of movement?
I think it's very important for movement, because we're not going to move by ourselves. Very few people are going to move alone because we're afraid. So sometimes we have to push through fear. When you're pushing through fear and you have a support system that's going to help you get back up if you fall, or a support system that's going to say, hey, don't go that way because that way is too bumpy and you don't have the gear to get through that, sit here, let's help you get what you need, and then we'll walk with you. So having that support system and having the ability to move is very important. When you get stagnant, so if I get stagnant and you're expecting me to be accountable for what I was saying, if I didn't get this book out, you'd be texting me once a month, what are you doing? What are you doing? So accountability helps us not be stagnant and not just be a fixture sitting somewhere looking pretty. So we got to stay moving and we got to be accountable. But everybody can't be your accountability partner, and one person can't be your accountability partner for everything.
That's good. I'm laughing because, I was texting you randomly. It would be so random, like in the middle of the night. I wonder what she's doing about that book. Let me text her right
now. And I'd be like, oh, no, I didn't do anything. Let me do something real quick. And be like,
Yeah, that's so important in all of life, not just when it comes to writing a book. First of all, there had to have been some level of vulnerability for you to be able to trust someone with your heart's desire. That's the first thing. And then trust that person was going to hold you accountable. I mean, that's generally that's generally how I believe things are. You have to trust somebody with your vision, and then trust that they are going to support you, encourage you, push you, kick you, pull you, do whatever they have to do to help you make it through the finish line if you said that this is my intention, this is what I would like to do.
Yeah. And then you'll know if they're not following with you, you know who's there for you and who's not. Or you know
right.
what role you play in your life.
Yes. Definitely. I think it's important for people in general, but women specifically, to support each other at that level, because women are nurturers, the givers of life, and not just growing babies in their womb, but they bring life to a household, they bring life to their job, they bring life to their business. We give life with God-given creativity, because that's the feminine energy. So it's just so important for women to be able to be hand in hand and supporting each other at that level. And not only support, because that's vulnerability, but collaboration is important as well. So I definitely appreciate you collaborating with me today on this show, because I want people to buy your book too. So how can your book be purchased? Because I know it's in pre-sales right now. When is it going to be available?
So it is in pre-sales, and actually pre-orders will be over the end of the month. And I am on target with no hiccups so far for it to be in print the second week of May. And those who pre-ordered, it will be mailed out with a special little thank you note for everyone that supported me in the pre-order. And it can be, right now, I did set up an Instagram page, like an author's Instagram page. It's called EL Words on Paper. So if you go to Instagram and follow me, you can, in the bio, the link for the pre-order is in my bio. And I'll be updating that webpage, periodically as we're getting closer. And I think I have an activity that I want to do on that page as well the closer we get to print. So maybe May 1st, I'm going to start something, an activity that will be on daily. So we'll have daily posts leading up to the point where I'm mailing out the pre-orders.
Okay, cool. So how can people follow you on social media?
So the Instagram page is the only one that I have for the book right now. I am working on a web page just for me in reference to the things that I have planned, like my next level adventures in Words on Paper, and that's what the Instagram is called. It's at ELE Words on Paper. And look for a website soon. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know when the website will be up, and then you can go follow me and navigate the website as well.
So let's talk about your business a little bit, because when I found out what you were doing, I found that interesting, because your business is not something common. It's not something that you hear about often.
Yeah, so my business is called Milestones Consulting, Academic, Personal, and Professional. And that website is mcapp.services. So it's MCAPP.services. And what I did, so I'm an educator. I've always been in education. When I was in high school, I wanted to be a social worker. I did go to college right out of high school for social work. I've been surrounded by educators, and then I got into the field of behavioral health. So when I got into the field of behavioral health, I saw how reactive life was. I saw how reactive focusing on the mental and behavioral health of children was not beneficial. It turned into a money thing, and it turned into access and knowledge. So with that background in behavioral health, as well as being an advocate for education, I decided to basically do case management for anyone and everyone, but it's not called case management. It's more so like resource management or touching into coaching, but not really coaching. If you go on the website, you can see there's an academic component, a personal component, and a professional component. So say academically, most of my clients are high school students or college students in that transition period. I'm a first-generation college student. My family, my mom, my grandmothers, they all promoted for us to go to college and get an education. My mom did have a trade in the medical field, and I thought I wanted to go in the medical field, but I do not. That is not my science. My science is a social science, and my sister and my daughter went into, quote-unquote, the hard science, or the real science, they call it. But we debate about that over and over, which is fun. It's fun, but some of their terminology, I'm like, nah, I'm not interested. But I love the social science. And I love just making sure people have access and can understand different things. So for the transitioning students in the college, it was hard for me because I graduated high school with honors, but that's a different type of learning. That's a different type of arena because they want you to be more accountable for your education. But I didn't know that. My counselors in high school didn't teach me that. The counselors in high school are too busy making quotas and doing data entry and making sure their I's are dotted and their T's are crossed. Well, some kids miss out. And I've heard of stories where there's a family that have 7 kids, and these kids wanted to go to college, but because the parents didn't think that was something they could do, they lost out that opportunity. Some of these kids had excellent grades, they were athletes, and they could have gone. But because their parents didn't have the information and the support, they didn't go. And their lives took different turns. Some of them are still trying to get back in school, and I think a few of them did actually go. But it's hard because what you don't know, you don't know. And I want to make sure they know. And then once they are in college, I have a client who he is the youngest of three brothers. He just got a full ride to a well-known university in New York, a full ride. All he has to do is work study, up to $2,000 a semester. It's just amazing, and it's because his mother knew that she needed help making sure she could navigate him to get what he needed. And sometimes you just have to learn how to pivot or ask for help and be willing to be taught and be teachable. Even though we're adults, we have to be teachable. And in the personal realm, it's just learning how you learn. I wasn't taught to understand how I learned until I was in grad school. Well, that's too late. We need to teach. Kindergartners need to know how they learn. Kindergarten teachers need to know how students learn. As a teacher, you teach the way you learn. Well, if I'm an auditory learner and you're doing something in reference to me reading 20 chapters, I can't do it. I'm not going to be at my best because you're not teaching me where I need to be taught. I need you to tell me what it is, repeat it, let me repeat it, let me do it, and I have it. I was in high school. My geometry teacher, we did not get along. Don't ask me why an adult didn't get along with a child or a child didn't get along with an adult, but, I have a teenager, so I can imagine what I was like, but we did not get along. I would ask for help. She would say, look in your textbook. I read the text. I don't understand it. I'm asking for you. Well, check your notes on a notebook. You're writing on a note. You're writing the notes on a board exactly from the textbook. So what are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I passed every test with a C because I could do the algebra, because I had a good algebra teacher. I never did a proof or a theorem because she didn't teach me, so I was being combative. But because she couldn't meet me where I needed, I didn't get it. And because I was a teenager being combative, I didn't give her an opportunity either. So I don't know geometry. I know nothing about it. Now my 16-year-old's home with me asking me about stuff. I'm like, call your sister. So if I knew how I learned, I could have advocated for myself a little better. But I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't have the words or the understanding or that knowledge to advocate for myself. And she, as a teacher, should have picked up on that. But she wasn't taught that either. So I can't keep blaming her or blaming myself. What do? Do my best and my part to fix it. Show people how they learn. Show people how they communicate. Because the more you know about yourself, the better you can deal with other people. The professional aspect is more so me in training. I love training. I have a client who started her own child care center. So I'm working on a certification where I can be the trainer for any early childhood learning center and provide their mandatory hours of the 6 hours of training. And I want to focus on the social emotional aspects of the training and create a curriculum that empowers the teacher for these early childhood centers to want to be better for themselves because they have the most precious life in their hands. They have the ability to mold the minds of infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. And that's our future. Who's going to take care of us the next 35 to 40 years? These kids in diapers. So what do we need to give them now for them to give back to us later? So in the professional where I would provide workshops, come out and do trainings, come and do motivational speaking during like their staff meetings. For the daycare center now, I'll go out and make sure the center is up to code, or I'll say, hey, do like a mock audit. So when the state does come, this is a high quality center because they know they're not just waiting once a year to be audited. They're into it. They're buying into the professionalism, the growth, the social emotional components, the learning through play. They're being accountable. So that's how I would be as a consultant for a business aspect as well. And I just want to be me. I want to be helpful. I want to make sure that everyone has access. And I created that business to be out there to provide for those who want the same thing.
So your book makes sense.
Yes.
Based on what you do, that book is for the adult who may not have gotten everything that they needed sociologically in school and maybe in the home. So the book makes sense based on what your business does. It's the Kickstarter for it's the push for the adult to stop hitting snooze and keep going.
Exactly.
Or even start.
That's right, Trenace. It's never too late to start because you start today. Say you start today. I'll be 50 in August. I'm just going to say I'm just starting, and that's fine. But my 50 in August, what is that going to look like for a legacy 50 years from now, 100 years from now?
Right.
As long as we keep the earth rolling, and as long as God allows us to grace the earth, I need to depend on that. I need to look at that. What does the vision look like for my legacy? Like me and my daughter look into our history, and we found great-great-great-grandparents. What did they leave? What were they able to leave? I want my great-great-grandchildren to say, this is where this legacy started because of what our further ancestors did. Let me tell you, I used to, just because, I would go into these house. You know how, like, on Sundays they do, if somebody's selling a house, what are they called? Open houses. So you go into the open house.
Yeah.
If I walked into the open house of a middle-aged white family, they had their grandmama's picture on the wall, grandmama and grandpop's wedding pictures on the wall, grandpop's World War I picture on the wall. I want that. I want that history to be a part of my everyday life. And I want to make sure that legacy goes on. Because if I want that, I know I'm not the only one. And I know I'm here today, but I know that the more others to come are going to want that. Because I'm different, but I'm not that different. And I want them to know
Right.
someone thought about us before we were a thought.
Right. Right. Oh, we still got another 50 years.
Right?
I'll be 51 this year, so we still got a good another 50 years to keep going.
Yeah, we need to invest in these kids so we know which one will push us around and not push us over.
Right. So, what does Erica's next level look like?
So my next level looks busy. As an author, I want to brand Stop Hitting Snooze and make it turn into like a journal or a book of affirmations or maybe a calendar, some merchandising, speaking engagements, workshops, and an app. Everybody has their phone in their hand. Let me grab you where you are. And that's another component to the business. It's mobile. So they don't have to figure out where I am. I'm going to figure out where you are. So it's a mobile business. You can do it on Zoom, or we can meet up somewhere. So I wanted to make sure that was a piece that they knew. They didn't have to make sure they were ready to come to me. I wanted them to know I was ready to meet them where they are. And with the business, I just want to continue to support students and maybe, collaborate or partner with some more academic entities, whether it be K-12 or higher ed. I want to make sure we do that. And retirement. I know some people may say, oh, you're so young. I'm not that young. I wish I could have retired at 45. But retirement is something at the next level that I want to be focused on right now.
So what would be 3 things you wish for the listeners to take away from our conversation?
You know what? Don't be afraid of your own voice. Don't be afraid of your voice, and don't criticize your voice. There are people that love to hear what you have to say, and a broken clock is right twice a day. So if you feel like you don't have anything pertinent to say, just keep that in mind. A broken clock, no battery, no life, is right 2 times a day. So take that little bit and then grow with it. Secondly, you're not alone. You're not alone in your thoughts. You're not alone in your feelings. And you're not alone in your situations. You're not the only person going through what you feel like you're going through. But if you don't share or if you don't reach out, you'll never know the strength that resides inside of you and outside of you. And then thirdly, is self-care. And self-care is not just getting your nails done or looking, what did they say? Fake it till you make it. So if you look good and you feel good, you got to dig deeper. Dig deeper and make sure you're doing self-care socially. Make sure you're doing self-care emotionally, physically, and spiritually. So those are the 3 things I would like to leave. Don't be afraid of your own voice. You're not alone. And self-care, social, emotional, physical, and spiritual.
All right. So make sure you give everybody how they can follow you on social media. Definitely how they can pre-order the book. The pre-orders, they end the end of next month. Is that right?
The end
of this month.
Yes.
Oh.
So we have, what's
Friday
today, the 24th?
Is the last
so
day to pre-order.
Yes.
Okay. So Friday is the last day to pre-order. I'm going to share the pre-order link sometime this evening because, I'm still kind of trying to pack. I'm going to do that. Maybe I'll do that when I get off of this podcast, but I want to share the pre-order link and your social media.
Yes. So
what
on Instagram,
else is there? Mm-hmm.
On Instagram, I do have it's ELE, Words on Paper, but they can just follow my personal Facebook if they want, and it's just Erica Evans.
Okay. Got it. So Thank you for being my super special guest today. When I saw your book I had been seeing, I knew your book was in pre-launch, but I forgot. And then when I saw it, I was like, oh, this will be a good way to talk to my friend and introduce her to everybody and share her book.
Oh,
so thank you. Yeah, so thank you for coming through last minute because I actually had something else that I was going to do, and I appreciate you letting me call you at last minute and say, hey, can you do this for me?
Yes, because guess what I learned? To stop hitting snooze. I was like, oh, that's the alarm. It says show up. I'm showing up.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. I guess I was the alarm.
See?
All right, so with that, I'm going to end like I always do. I want to thank everyone first for rocking with us this afternoon. Be safe. Still cover your mouth when you cough and sneeze. That's something we learn in elementary education. The ultimate act of self-love is to be safe. Be wise. I guess if you're going to get the immunization, go ahead and get that vaccination. Do that, but still wear your mask. Be considerate of others. I'll say stay in the house because I don't want to go outside too much. I don't know who has COVID.
I want to be outside. I don't want to be around people too much. I like people, but I want to be around people that are covered. I still need your mask on.
Right. I mean, I'm an introvert, so it doesn't bother me to stay in the house. I can get out every once in a while. Friday, I went to a concert. Last Friday, I was out at a concert. I don't know when I'll go outside again.
Concert?
I don't know when I'll go out again. Yeah.
Did you enjoy yourself?
It wasn't very. I did, man. Because I think it was. Yeah, that's what it was. It was live. It was live music. I love live. It's something about live music that gives you energy. For me, it gives me energy. I don't know about anybody else, but that's why I like to get a close seat so I can feel the drum actually vibrating through my body.
Oh my goodness! My daughter took me to a concert, and she's like, "You okay?" I said, "I'm trying to get used to that. The whole bass is in my chest."
Oh, I love it. It makes me feel alive. It makes me feel alive, but I don't know the next time I'll go outside to a concert. I've traveled earlier this month, so I'm slowly getting back out. My day job is asking that I come back into the office May 4th, so I'm slowly getting back out. I'm not in a hurry to be back out. I just want everybody to be safe. So when our new normal does finally show up, because we haven't reached it yet, we're making steps to whatever this new normal is going to look like, because this isn't it. This is definitely not it. We probably will be wearing some type of mask forever at some level when it comes to being in public spaces. But this isn't it yet. We're going in that direction. But whenever the world opens up completely, once everybody, I guess, is vaccinated and they've gotten the COVID-19 under control, because I hear there's they may not have an Olympics in 4 months, because I think it's in China this year. The COVID virus is it's on its fourth strain at this point. So
wow.
Whenever this new normal proceeds, I want to see everybody. I want to be able to travel. I may have had my vaccination by then. I'm just not in no hurry right now. I want to see everybody. I want to go everywhere. Although I am an introvert, I love to hug people. I love the energy of a hug. So I want to be able to do that. So that's it, man. I love you all, and thank you, Erica, so much. I got a pre-order Friday, so I can get mine
sure you pre-order, so you get your little special note.
I gotta call you, tell you what I'm working on too, but but I thank you for joining me this Saturday on Next Level with Trenace. We're not doing this every Saturday anymore. It's every other Saturday. So Saturday after next, after I've moved into my new space, that's when we'll be doing the next show. Maybe I'll have a guest. Maybe I won't have a guest. Who knows? But I'll definitely be have something good for you to share with you. Thank you so much. I love you. Be authentic. And thank you for letting me help you be great. See you next time. Bye-bye.
You say you feel defeated and you're down for the count. You feel like life has thrown you blows and God ain't been around. But I've come to encourage you to hold your head high. Know that God is in your corner now. No more inner lies. You are a winner. You just can't lose. Who burn a chaos more than a conqueror? Jesus in you. You are a winner. You were born to win. Who burn a chaos more than a conqueror? Power within. You are a winner.